G'day, everybody. Welcome to the new week, new newsletter, that means as well. And I want to take you through what I'm seeing on Bitcoin and the wider market as well. Now, you can see in the body of the email that there is a bunch there about the positives that are happening. You know, you've got Charles Schwab jumping on board, Strategy buying more Bitcoin, Kraken's profits are insane, Tether's profits are insane. The Maldives, however you want to pronounce it, has just picked up 9 billion. I think it's out of Dubai or Saudi or something like that. Anyway, a lot of money in this space. And it's really interesting to see because we see a lot of people put everything emphasis wise on price, just up or down. Oh, it's bullish, it's bearish because the price goes up or down. And last week, if that was to be the case, well, we wouldn't have seen it as being all that much of a bullish week. But talk about this undercurrent that's going on that I've never seen so much positivity in the market right now. And when you look in the right places, and I'm not saying, you know, when you cherry pick the things that are good, I'm saying when you look in the right places, like what's actually going on, what drives a new industry to have a lot of growth? Well, it's really, really simple. It's profits. If people know that they can make money in that space, they're going to enter it. Now, big business is entering into this space. It has been for a while, and they're now starting to reap the rewards. So that is a groundswell that I think is going to continue. Now, as far as the charts go, well, let's go ahead and have a look at the weekly here on Bitcoin because it didn't do a great deal. It closed up 0.56% for its fourth consecutive bullish week or up week in a row. Certainly nothing on last week's 10%. We only need, I think we only need like 4 or 5% to crack 100 grand again. Let's have a look. What is that from where we are currently? We need, let's call it 6%, and then we're back at 100,000 US dollars, which is where we really need to get to and beyond. Of course, everyone's sort of sitting there with bated breath, waiting and waiting and waiting. So the weekly chart last week for Bitcoin did not tell me a great deal. As a matter of fact, with it being, having pushed higher and then having pulled back, if anything, it's a little bit bearish. However, it doesn't look terrible at all. The one thing I can point out, again, I come back to the monthly. This time last week when I did the last newsletter, I mentioned to you guys that we had that bullish monthly candle right here, and we do have that. We've broken the high of that, which to me is extremely bullish. As you see back over here, and this is a monthly candle, so it can take quite some time before that level breaks, if it is to break. Now, we've broken pretty much the first week, not pretty much, we've broken the first week of April. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to see it shoot up hardcore, but as far as this chart goes, look at what it did back here, broke the high, had a really good run, and I've been speaking to that. If you're new to the newsletter, welcome, but I do see this cradle play, being very, very positive, and likelihood is that we will see a continuation. And that's what trading's all about. It's about probabilities. The probability here of it moving higher is higher than it is of it moving lower. I'm talking medium to long term. So I am very, very bullish. As far as the daily price goes as well, look, it's not my favorite looking chart. We've got a high low, we've got a high high, a little bit messy and sideways through here. However, we have pulled back in. I don't know why my chart doesn't have lines on it. I drew them in just a moment ago, but I'll show you what they are by drawing them in again. First thing is we're above 91,000. Okay, so we broke up through there. We spoke of that level a little while ago. Now, what have we got? Well, we're sitting around 94,000. And whilst it's not a very significant level, we can see prices tapped and played around this level for a little while. So it's rejected that level. It's bounced off that level. But as I say, it's not precise, not like 91,000 was. However, it has held. If we push above here, that would be really, really nice. What I'm getting at is that whilst it's not a perfect cradle trade, there is, if we break the high of this candle, there is reason to believe that we may start to grind our way higher. And realistically, if we can take out these highs, we're going to start to really get close to that $100,000 where I think we'll see retail start to re-enter, news media picking it up and running with it a lot more, and then we will see the bull market kick back in. So Bitcoin looking bullish to me, short, medium, and long term. Also, I want to say short term. It is a bit messy here on short term, but when I say medium, I'm talking about the daily, weekly, monthly. The daily definitely looking okay. The monthly looking very, very strong. A couple of other things to really speak to, which I think is really interesting, is Bitcoin's dominance chart. Now, you see in the text within this newsletter, this is the 10th week that we are opening right now, and it's up. 9 weeks in a row we have seen a gain on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now I started to go, well, hang on, how long has it been since we've seen a run like that? And I went back 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 to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which started in August of 2023. Coincidentally, the week that I started deploying capital back into the market for this bull run. Then I kept going. And I kept going. And I kept going. And I just kept on going. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. There's one, I kept going through. And yes, we get a very strong run here, but we did have weeks that were flat or down. We're going all the way back now to 2017. So in recent times, I'm not saying that there won't be, Bitcoin dominance going back further, but realistically going back to, 2014, there really wasn't too many other options. Ethereum, don't forget, came in 2015. So we are at a historic time for Bitcoin's dominance. Will this, what will it mean? Well, it just means that the alts have been bleeding for a while and Bitcoin continues to drag liquidity into it as opposed to with the alt market. What we want to see, of course, is we want to see probably Bitcoin dominance if we're going to see markets do what they normally do, which may not happen, is rip this higher and then have a strong reversal for the alts to take off. I have said in the past that during bull markets, we do tend to get up around that 70% or above in dominance terms. And let's wait and see what goes on with that. But just an interesting little historic note that if we close bullish this week in recent times, I'm talking 11 years, which is pretty much all time when it comes to Bitcoin, then, all time of it being, us involved in it and not just being the only thing, then, we've got one more week and then we are breaking new ground. So something to be of note. As far as the daily goes, well, it just continues to pull back in. Look, it pulled back in. I spoke of it here. It moved back up. Cradle back over here. It moved back up. Cradle right here. It's probably going to move back up. Mind you, it is divergent. Now, again, pointing to the fact that a chart is a chart. And when you learn how to read charts the way that I read charts, it doesn't matter what you look at. You can apply it to all of the charts. Total market cap. Let's jump across to the weekly right now and see that there's not a great deal going on. It was down 0.2%. Nothing to really speak of on the monthly once again. It did break the high of that monthly candle, which is very positive. It does look very similar to Bitcoin. That is because Bitcoin is 64.8% of the total market cap. As far as everything else is concerned, there's not a lot to talk to. We are simply sitting here and waiting. What is the market going to do? Well, it has been consolidating for a wee while now. Is this candle and the break of the high going to be the catalyst for our next leg up, or are we going to continue to move sideways? I do like where Bitcoin is. It is back in the cradle zone. It has had a pullback. It was after a consolidation period, so it's not the greatest. However, it's back to that 94,000, a round number, and a level that has been acted upon in the past. None of these things are massive. But when we combine them together, we start to lean a little bit more towards the side of bulls. I am not leaning a little bit towards the side of the bulls. I'm leaning massively towards the side of the bulls. But that comes down to the time frame. I'm looking months in advance, weeks to months, and I think that we are sitting in a very, very good position. Why do I think that? Well, I don't need to think because I read the charts. I read what it is telling me, and I'm very comfortable with how everything is sitting at the moment. I do look forward to the moment when we do kick and things become really exciting again. But in my mind, in my world, I am quite excited for what is to come. So if you're ready, great. If you're not, jump in, join us in Discord. I'll guide you along the way. But that is a free newsletter for this week, guys. Again, an undercurrent of positivity. Let's keep going, keep trading, and tell your mates about what we're doing here. Have a great day, guys. Bye for now.